Morning, everybody. And it's been a tough week for you. Two assignments rolled into 1 week. And now it's my turn. It's going to be a tough week for me. And on top of that, Nimrod is away. He's traveling to a conference in the Netherlands. And so I'm more or less on my own just with Samuel. And so I'll be doing his tutorials on Sunday night. You'll have to bear with me, sorry. And a lot of marking lies ahead for me as well. While we're on the housekeeping stuff, I just want to talk a little bit about the attendance at tutorials. I've noticed that the attendance is dropping off. I'm sure I don't need to remind you that attendance counts towards your DP. But the other aspect of the attendance, sometimes the student appears to be there, but actually isn't there. So we do notice this. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was the wiki feedback. Your wikis have got really good, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for us to give you meaningful feedback when they are so good. And the comments sometimes are really there just to provide comments, and I've said to the markers, back off a little bit. The wikis are good. We don't need to provide you with such a volume of feedback on the wikis. So you'll see less feedback there, but remember that the feedback you get from the rubric is obviously very rich as well. And clearly, if a wiki needs it, you will get the feedback. Over the last week, we've been talking about performance appraisals, and I made a post on the small groups about the choice of language and how different cultures interpret things differently. And I've got a silly example. When I worked in England, reporting to an English boss, and me being English-speaking South African, we had a sort of an appraisal discussion where he expressed surprise. In fact, his choice of words were, "I'm surprised at the way you did this." And I thought, well, good. I've surprised him, and I've continued to adopt that kind of style in what I was doing. And it took several more discussions before I realized that when he said he's surprised at the way I did something, what he meant was, I don't like it. But I didn't understand it, yet we were speaking the same language, and just different cultures, different ways of expressing things. Actually, I've got another example, which is sillier. And many years ago, when I did my national service in Oudtshoorn, there were 50 of us in the platoon, and 48 of them were Afrikaans speaking, and from a fairly strong Afrikaans cultural background. So as you can imagine, everything happened in Afrikaans. Now the other chap, the other English-speaking fellow that was with me, he was more dozy than I, and a little bit shy as well. Anyway, we were, I suppose, standing around during some idle time. I'd taken off my helmet, and I had it in my hand, I think. And the corporal caught sight of this, and he came rushing up to us and screamed at us, but sort of looking at both of us. He said, "Sit up your stalduck." So I wasn't in a hurry to do anything, but this other English fellow was a bit nervous as well. And he immediately took his stalduck, his helmet, off his head, put it on the floor, and sat on it. You can imagine how the corporal reacted to that. So another funny story about use of language and different cultural backgrounds. So that's all I've got to say about that, and look forward to seeing you in the tutorials on Monday, and I'll see you again next week in the roundup. Don't forget to use the forums, keep the forums going, they're going well. Good rich commentary going on there. Bye-bye, everybody.